Welcome to my YouTube channel Wise Whispers, where silence speaks.
Semon, 62 years old, stood frozen in the doorway of the bank manager's office, his fingers trembling slightly as they tightened around the edge of the file. "Are you saying this payment has already been approved?" he asked slowly, his voice dry. The manager adjusted his glasses and nodded. "Yes, Mr. Semon. A large transfer was made from your account 3 days ago. It was authorized under your name." For a moment, the world went silent. Semon's heartbeat thudded loudly in his ears. "I didn't authorize anything." Manager hesitated, then quietly said, "Your son did. He had access." Just like that, something inside Semon cracked. A father who built everything from nothing. Semon was not a rich man. He was a man who had become something through struggle. At 62, his hands still carried the marks of years of hard work, cracked skin, faded scars, and a stiffness that never fully went away. He had spent decades building a small construction business from scratch. Brick by brick, day by day, without shortcuts, everything he owned, every rupee, had a story behind it. But the one thing he was most proud of, his son, Arman. Semon had given him everything he never had: education, comfort, freedom. He never let Arman feel the weight of poverty, even when Semon himself skipped meals. Arman never knew, the son he trusted blindly. Arman was smart, ambitious, but over time something had changed, after marriage especially. His wife Layla came from a more modern lifestyle. She liked luxury, status, appearances. Semon noticed it, but he stayed silent because he didn't want to interfere, because he believed a son knows his limits. The first doubt, it started small: unusual withdrawals, strange excuses, business investment, barber, short-term deal. Explain later. Semon trusted him every time until that day in the bank. "The truth behind the villa. Can you show me where the money went?" Semon asked, his voice now firm. The manager turned the screen toward him. A property transaction, a luxury villa, location, elite gated society, buyer name Layla. Arman, not Semon, his daughter-in-law. Semon felt his chest tighten. "A villa," he whispered, "a lifetime of savings gone for a house he didn't even know existed." The confrontation that night. Semon sat in the living room waiting. The clock ticked loudly. 9:15 p.m. The door opened. Arman walked in casually, keys in hand. "Barber, you're still awake." Semon didn't smile, didn't move, just looked at him. "Sit down." Something in his tone made Arman pause. He sat. "What happened?" Semon placed the bank file on the table. "Tell me about the villa." Silence, heavy, uncomfortable. Arman looked away. "It's an investment." Semon's voice rose slightly. "Lie." Silence, then Arman exhaled. "Okay, yes, I bought it." "For whom?" "For Layla." The words hit harder than any slap. "The breaking point at my expense?" Semon asked quietly. Arman's silence was answer enough. Semon stood up slowly. "You used my money, without telling me, for your wife." "Barber, it's not like that." "Then what is it like?" Semon snapped. "For her comfort, for our future." "And what about me?" Semon's voice cracked. "I gave you everything, and you couldn't even ask me." Arman's expression hardened slightly. "You always say everything is mine anyway." That sentence destroyed something. The decision that night. Semon didn't sleep. He sat alone, staring into darkness, thinking, remembering, regretting. By morning he had made a decision. The cancellation. Semon returned to the bank. "I want to stop the transaction." Manager looked surprised. "It's already processed, but there may still be a legal window if we act fast." "Do it," Semon said firmly. Then he contacted a lawyer. Documents were reviewed. Authorization was challenged because technically it was misuse of access. The shock. 3 days later, Arman came home furious. "What did you do?" he shouted. Semon remained calm. "I cancelled the deal." "You had no right." Semon looked at him steadily. "No, Arman, you had no right." "Truth comes out." Layla joined in, angry. "This is humiliating. Do you know what people will say?" Semon turned to her. "For once, I don't care what people say." He stepped closer. "I care that my own son betrayed me." The room fell silent. The lesson days passed. The house felt cold. Distance grew. But something else happened too. Arman started seeing things differently. For the first time, he saw his father not as a source of money, but as a man who had limits, a man who could be hurt. The apology. One evening, Arman walked into Semon's room quietly. "Barber." Semon didn't look up. "I was wrong." Silence. "I thought it was all mine anyway. I didn't think about you." His voice broke slightly. "I forgot what it took you to build all this." Finally looked at him, and for the first time in days, his eyes softened. The moral. Semon didn't lose his money, but he almost lost something far more important: respect, trust, and the bond between a father and a son. Final moral of the story: money earned with sacrifice carries emotions, not just value. When trust is broken for comfort or greed, the real loss is not financial, it's relational. Respect within a family is not automatic. It must be protected with honesty and boundaries. After that night, the house changed, not physically, but emotionally. The laughter that once filled the rooms was gone. Conversations became short, careful, almost rehearsed. Even the sound of footsteps felt heavier, like each person was walking on invisible cracks. Semon, 62 years old, had always believed that time heals everything. But now he realized time doesn't heal what people refuse to understand. A father's withdrawal. Semon stopped involving himself in family matters. No more advice, no more questions, no more quiet sacrifices. He still lived in the same house, but he had stepped back from it. At breakfast, he would sit quietly, finish his tea, and leave without a word. Arman noticed. Of course he did, but guilt has a strange nature. It makes you aware yet unable to act. Layla's perspective for Layla, things were different. She didn't see herself as wrong. One afternoon, she spoke to Arman in frustration. This is too much now. It was just a house. People buy properties all the time. Arman rubbed his forehead. It wasn't just a house, Layla. Then what? Your father has money. You're his only son. Who else is it for? Arman looked at her, really looked this time, and for the first time he didn't have an answer because deep down he knew this wasn't about money. The unexpected move. A week later, something unexpected happened. Semon called a property agent. I want to sell the old warehouse, he said calmly. The agent was surprised. That property has sentimental value, sir. It's where your business started. I know, Semon replied. Still want to sell? A pause. Yes. It hurt Maury. That warehouse wasn't just land, it was memory. It was where Semon had spent nights working under dim lights, where he had eaten dry bread sitting on cement bags, where he had dreamed of a better future for his son. Selling it meant letting go of a part of his life, but Semon had realized something important. If people don't value your sacrifices, holding on to them only hurts you more. Arman finds out. When Arman heard about the sale, he rushed home. You're selling the warehouse? Semon nodded. But why? That place is everything. Semon looked at him calmly. Exactly. Arman frowned. I don't understand. Semon's voice was steady. You didn't understand either when you spent everything it stood for. The words hit hard. This time, Arman had no defense. The shift begins that night. Arman couldn't sleep. Memories started returning. His father coming home late, exhausted. His father counting money carefully. His father saying, this is for your future. For villas, not for status, for security, for stability, for him. And suddenly, Arman felt something unfamiliar, shame. The breaking conversation. The next morning, Arman went to the warehouse. Semon was there, standing quietly as if saying goodbye. Barbara, Arman said softly. Semon didn't turn. Do you remember this place? Arman asked. A faint smile appeared on Semon's face. I remember every inch of it. Silence lingered, then Arman spoke again. I used to think this was just an old building. Semon finally turned. Now, Arman's eyes were slightly red. Now I see, it's my childhood. A son's realization. I was wrong, Arman said, not loudly, not dramatically, but honestly. I thought providing comfort was success. Looked around, but this is what success really looks like. Semon watched him carefully. For the first time in days he saw sincerity. The choice cancelled the sale, Arman said suddenly. Semon raised an eyebrow. Why? Because I don't want you to lose this because of me. Semon studied his face. Are you saying this for me or for your guilt? Arman didn't hesitate. For you. Test of change. Semon didn't respond immediately. Instead, he said, return the money first. Arman froze. Of it? Yes. Villa, the luxury, the shortcuts. Everything, because change, without sacrifice, is just words. Layla's reaction when Arman told Layla, she was furious. You're giving it back. Are you serious? Yes. This is insane. Do you know how hard it is to get a property like that? Arman looked at her calmly. I know how hard it was for my father to earn that money. She went silent because this was not the same Arman. The turning point. Days later, the refund process began. The villa deal was officially reversed. Losses were taken. But something else was regained. Trust, slowly returning. A quiet moment one evening, Semon sat outside watching the sunset. Arman joined him. No tension, no anger, just silence. After a while, Semon said, you finally understood. Arman nodded. Late, but yes. Semon sighed softly. Better late than never. What truly changed? The money came back. The warehouse stayed. The house felt warmer again. But the biggest change, respect. Because now Arman didn't see his father as a provider. He saw him as a man who had given everything and still deserved more. Life slowly returned to normal. At least on the surface, Arman had changed. He became more careful, more respectful. He started helping in the business, asking questions, learning things he had ignored for years. Layla, though quieter now, kept her distance from Semon. And Semon, he watched everything, silently, thoughtfully, because while one lesson had been learned, another test was still coming. The hidden file. One afternoon, Semon called his lawyer. I want to finalize my will, he said. The lawyer nodded. Any special instructions? Semon paused for a moment, then replied, yes, I want to divide everything carefully. An unexpected discovery. A few days later, Arman was at the office looking for some documents when he came across a file. It wasn't labeled clearly, just a simple name, final allocation. Curious, he opened it, and what he saw made his heart drop. The shock. The will clearly stated, a large portion of Semon's assets would go to charity, some properties would be sold and distributed among workers who had stayed loyal for years, and Arman would receive only a small percentage. Arman's hands started shaking. This can't be right. The confrontation again that evening, Arman went straight to Semon. Barbara, I saw the file. Semon didn't look surprised. Which file? The will. Heavy but calm this time. Semon asked. Arman struggled to speak. You're giving everything away. Semon looked at him steadily. Not everything. Almost. The hard truth. Semon leaned back in his chair. Tell me something, Arman. Do you think you deserve it? The question was simple, but it hit deep. I'm your son, Arman replied. Semon nodded slowly. Yes, you are. Then his voice became firmer. Being my son gave you opportunity, not entitlement. Lesson beyond money. Semon stood up and walked toward the window. I spent my life building something, he said. Just for you, but with values. He turned back. And when I saw how easily you used it, I realized something. Arman stayed silent. I realized if I give you everything without understanding, I'll destroy what I built. Arman's breaking point this time. Arman didn't argue, didn't defend, didn't raise his voice. Instead, he sat down quietly. I understand, he said softly, and for the first time there were tears in his eyes. The real test days passed, no complaints, no discussions about the will. Arman focused on work, woke up early, stayed late, learned everything from dealing with workers to managing finances. He stopped trying to inherit the business and started trying to earn it. Semon's observation. Semon noticed everything, the effort, the sincerity, the patience, but he said nothing because real change needs time to prove itself. The final decision months later, Semon called Arman to the office. Sit down, he said. Arman obeyed. Semon placed a new file on the table. Open it. Arman hesitated. His eyes widened. The twist the will had changed, completely. This time, Arman was given full control of the business. The properties were still partially distributed for good causes, but the core legacy was his. Arman looked up, shocked. Baba, why? The final word. Semon smiled faintly. Because now you understand the value of it. Leaned forward. I didn't change the will because you're my son. A pause. I changed it because you proved you're worthy. Emotional closure. Arman stood up, his voice shaking. I don't know what to say. Semon simply replied, just don't forget again. That was enough. The ending scene that evening, father and son stood together at the old warehouse, the same place where everything began, this time not as a man who built everything and a boy who took it for granted, but as two men who finally understood each other. Final moral, deeper version. Inheritance is not a right, it is a responsibility. Money given without values creates entitlement, but money earned with understanding creates legacy. Respect, trust, and growth are the true wealth that must be passed from one generation to the next.